Welcome back to Fallingfoxgaming, everybody. I'm your host Blaine, and today we're going to be picking up with some more Kenshi, but today all we're going to do is talk about some of the mods that I think everybody should give a shot. They're all quality life improving mods, and I think that if you try them, you may see why I use them. They're very handy, very helpful, and most of the time you don't really have to think about them. The first one I'm going to talk about is the in-game Biome Map, and all that does is it colors your mini-map to basically show what different biomes are in the game. It's not really too helpful until you actually travel around and see what different biomes there are, but once you identify what each color means, it's very helpful at a glance to just kind of know what you're traveling through ahead of time. The next mod is the 256 Recruitment Limit mod, and it's pretty straightforward. The base game, you can only recruit like 40 people or whatever it is, and that's just nowhere near enough, especially if you want to have your own base or city or anything like that. So it just ups the limit that you can recruit up to 256. If you have a computer that can handle all those numbers, it's great. Otherwise, everybody else can just recruit what their computer can handle and then just call it a day. The next mod is, again, very simple. It's called Compressed Textures Project, and all it does is it compresses the base textures of the game into smaller formats, so that way your load times are much quicker. Very simple, very straightforward. Doesn't really change the way the game looks or anything like that, but improves performance for load screens pretty readily. The next mod I'm going to explain requires me to explain a little bit about Kenshi mechanics and something some people may know or may not know. And the mod is attack slots times 3. Now what that means is in Kenshi's base game, the system locks combat to 1v1 combat no matter how many people you have on your team. So if you have 10 people and they have 1, only one of your people are going to be fighting that individual target at a time, and then if your person gets knocked down, the next person will replace him until you either run out of people or you take down that one target. The attack slots times 3 mod allows up to 3 people to attack a single target. Now, this is really good for balancing out combat amongst powerful groups and weaker groups that have larger numbers. What that kind of does, in my opinion, is it makes the game a little more, what I would say, fluid. Combat tends to be over quicker because you have a lot of people that can stun lock tougher enemies. So if you have a weaker, larger group, you can actually fight some of the smaller groups that are more powerful. And in the beginning, when you don't have any stats, if you get a really large group of rabble, they can actually take on some of the smaller group of bandits. Now there are attack slots times 5, 7, 9, and above, but I don't like those because eventually it feels like combat is just way too frantic. The next mod I'm going to talk about is the shops have more items plus mod. Now, very simply, I don't like that Kenshi's shops have so few items. It's very unrealistic, and in my opinion, everybody in the world would be dead already because the shops would have no food, there'd be no items to go around, there'd be no money, first of all, with how expensive everything is. It simply just adds more inventory to all shops in the game, and it makes it to where some of the basic shops can actually have rare items like the secret research and the engineering stuff. Now granted, if you like going out and finding those things, just continue to do that. You don't have to buy the items, just pretend they're not there. Everyone else that likes to do base building and stuff or crafting, it adds a ton of resources in the generic shops, so that way you can actually just keep crafting and keep building, and it just makes things a little smoother and gets rid of some of the grind that you have to do for generic resources. Now what I do is I use this mod basically up until the point where I have my own little city going, and then I kind of stop using shops because I like having my own base that can make its own stuff, but I like knowing that the shops still have, building materials or metal bars or metal plates, whatever. I think it just makes the game a little more realistic. The final mod that I'm going to talk about is a little controversial in the sense that it does kind of feel like cheating if you use it, but it depends on your point of view. And it's the Advanced Training Dummies mod. Now, the one that I have installed allows you to eventually craft training dummies of any skill or stat up to 70, a skill level of 70. Now, most training dummies in the game normally only allow you to get up to 15 or 20 or whatever it is, but this allows you to go all the way up to 70, or at least the ones that I have. Now, in order to unlock the training dummies, you do have to do a decent amount of research at a research station, and you have to elevate your research station's level a couple of times. So depending on what you're trying to level up, you may still have to do a bunch of work to get the training dummies in the first place. And for me, that's a good balance. It basically means the first couple hours of my gameplay, I'm dedicated towards just getting money and resources to upgrade my research so that way I can build training dummies. And the reason why I use this mod is because to me it doesn't make sense that your characters all start off with 1s across the board for stats. Every NPC that you run across in this game essentially has anywhere from 10 to like 60 or 70 for stats, and it makes no sense that you, as adult people in this world, don't have any stats. I find that just really unbalanced, unrealistic, and for me, what I do is I basically spend the first couple hours learning to make these training dummies, building some training dummies, and then I set all my stats to where I think it's fair for a starting character to be at, 10, 20, 30, 40, depending on the region of the world I'm in. If you're in a really harsh environment, you should probably have higher stats because your character lives there or is there, so he probably was good enough to survive there. So there's no reason why you can't have 30s or 40s for stats, in my opinion. So what I like to do is after I get a core group, 4 or 5 people with decent stats, usually in the 30s or 40s across the board, I just have them train in all the different things with the training dummies. I build my first town, my first settlement, and from there, as I recruit new people, I don't increase their stats the same way as I do everyone else, but I choose a particular skill, so like farming or the turret or whatever, and I increase that skill up to 30, 40, 50, so that way they seem like they have a profession. And in my opinion, it has made base building and city building more fun, enjoyable, and realistic, and I hope that gives you guys some ideas. Now, it's only 6 mods, but those are 6 mods that I always use, I always have active, and they've always made my game a lot better. And I hope that if you guys use some of these, you guys could see how nice they make the game. It makes it a lot more fluid, less grindy, less boring at times. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment down below if there's any mods that you like using or any of these mods that you don't like. Just kind of let me know what you guys are thinking. I'd like to know about some more mods out there. I haven't installed that many mods, so if you guys have any mods that you consider essential, let me know. I also plan on doing a kind of a mod showcase in 2021 here, kind of at the beginning of the year, so if you guys know any like big mods, like overhaul mods or anything that I should give a shot, let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, that'll be all for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.